bridge me into this new conversation in regards to buying real estate make sense. We came out of what we consider a really tough market. We've had a strong 2013 finish, and now going into 2014, there's a lot of things that are taking place that are positive. And so, buying real estate in today's marketplace doesn't make sense. Well, we know that the interest rates are the lowest they've ever been. They're solid in regards to that. We know that taking a look at the pricing of real estate has stayed extremely competitive. Now, obviously, we know that the inventory's been low, but we know that the real estate still is priced well. Even when it's been increasing, its increase has been what I would consider a conservative increase, meaning that we've seen some markets go up as much as 30%, but once again have come down to kind of hit that median price. We know the tax benefits. Having Beth Shensky from EA Shensky on our show in the past, she talks a lot about the tax benefits of owning real estate. If you've sold a home, obviously you want to have that conversation about moving it to another home, so you kind of avoid any type of capital gains into that property. And of course, taking a look at the real estate as a whole, as being the stability in a marketplace, we know that if we as consumers feel confident about the value of our home, we in turn make better decisions. We just do.
Absolutely.
We spend more money in regards to fixing it up. And I know that you probably have seen an influx of construction questions that maybe they kind of hesitated on calling about because they weren't for sure if it made sense if they wanted to invest in their homes. Now we're seeing the influx of calls now begin. Also, we're seeing a lot more confidence in regards to companies and businesses. We just saw the relocation numbers come out. We're seeing companies now relocating people more into markets to help their companies grow, which in turn they pay for those traveling costs. They pay for the moving of their families, as well as helping them purchase the new home in the new marketplace. So this type of positive movement, once again, gives us that feeling that, the market's back. People are feeling confident about their real estate. So really now is a great time, if you haven't had that conversation, about selling your home because you want to move up or move down or move somewhere else, that conversation probably should be stimulated at this point.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation when you start talking about lateral moves and people changing job positions and moving out of state to another location. Relocation, there's been a lot of discussion about that recently, and sometimes companies will pay for the majority of the relocation costs, but not all of them. So you need to ask questions if you're interested in getting involved with finding out more about your real estate. And a lot of people who maybe look at real estate as if it's a business where they may not want to spend a lot of money involved with it because they're scared of it. It's a large investment to invest in real estate, and maybe the average citizen isn't involving themselves in that because they're dealing with their everyday job, trying to make ends meet with their income and debt to income ratios with their families and their households. So they hear these things, they listen to these things, but they may not have the opportunity to do so. But everybody's at that same point at one point in time. Okay, so if you want to get involved, you have to start asking questions and finding out what you can do to get involved. And sometimes it does not take a large influx of cash to do things like you may think it does. It's all about strategy and how we help you make those decisions and place you in the right position so you can then be able to invest in real estate, sell or transfer that real estate in one form or another, and make some revenue from that.
Meeting with some listeners this past week, thinking about selling their home, it was interesting. And one of them was that they had me come over to counsel them on short sales because they really felt that they were upside down, only to find out that they had between $10,000 and $12,000 on the table in profit. And it just total surprise to them. But once again, they had said, well, we had gone to the internet to find out what our home was worth. And so on the internet, it told me that we were $30,000 upside down.
And that was dated information from how long ago?
Well, and understand the dated information came from a marketplace where that at that time 2 years ago or even a year and a half ago, that was the conversation, that they probably were that amount of money upside down. But because they went to the websites on the internet thinking that if it's on the web, it's true, that's not the case. And so here they put a mindset in place of almost panic and thinking, well, we really want to sell our house because we want to take an opportunity for a job transfer, but we're upside down, only to find out after having, our counseling appointment that they actually had money on the table. We're finding that happening over and over again. We met with a radio listener, just amazing people, struggling with some medical issues.
All of you are, by the way.
I know, but when they invite us into their home, there's something special about that with me, and I know
you're going to fire us off on a tangent now about talking
No,
about the people that reach out to us and that we build relationships with, and there are many, and we're very, very fortunate to be in relationships with all of you. No, continue.
Well, and I thought you may have mentioned, obviously, being a real estate broker, how many kitchens and living rooms I've been in, but it's just different. Being in our 5th season of this radio show and the listeners calling up and entrusting us with their largest investment, I take that very seriously, as you do. And, this past week I was in a kitchen of a family, and their listeners are struggling with some medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to downsize into 2 houses. They're getting married soon, and trying to retrofit the second home as well as, selling the first home. And I was just absolutely rose up with positive energy. Here is a very difficult situation, and I was coming in
very
there
personal.
And I was coming in there to impact them with positive news, because once again, another call thinking that they were going to have to, bring money to the table or do a short sale.
Besides all your positive energy, right?
We show once again there's $15,000 sitting there for them once they sell this home.
Wow, where did that come from?
And so, but walking away from that appointment only to be impacted by them and their courage and their strength to get through this medical situation that's very serious, and to share with me at the level that they're sharing with me, it was definitely humbling. And I'm very thankful that there was, the conversation of having $15,000 on the table in equity in their home sale, because I was able to bring that to the table for them. And so once again, another great story from one of our radio listeners that I know there's many of you out there that are listening right now that are thinking, probably don't really know what my house is worth, kind of scared, did some research on the internet. This really is that time, even if you're not thinking about selling and you're just curious, because a lot of times people like to kind of keep their finger on the pulse of their value. Why do you think that we call up when the real estate sign goes in the front yard of your neighbor's house? We get those calls throughout the years because they want to know what their neighbor's house sold for.
Sure.
Why is that? Not because they want to buy it. It's because it's next door to them. And so for some reason, they must think that value jumps into, their property lines. Of course, if the house
You can't control what people think, right?
Right. And so nowadays with the internet, you can actually type in the address, and because of Realtor.com and our website, you can find out what homes are listed for. But we share that because that's reality for people. When that neighborhood sign goes up, we want to call on it. We want to find out, what that home is going for. And then when that big pending red sign goes on the top, and you're like, oh my gosh, they got an offer, new neighbors, how much did it sell for?
Right.
That's exciting.
Everybody's inquisitive.
Well, they're inquisitive because they want to know what their house is worth.
It's great when we're driving one of our marketing vehicles that are labeled with the company Real Estate 411, and we go to different locations. As soon as we pull into a location, the neighbors are looking like, oh my God, so-and-so selling their house, or they're going to buy another, and everybody starts running up to you. What are you doing here? Are you real estate broker?
Why was the
Yes,
Real
sir.
Estate 411 car in your driveway?
Well, we were doing a diagnosis,
Yeah.
an inspection. Who knows?
Yeah, it's
But
good.
yeah, people ask questions.
Well, they always think that that they're selling.
Right.
That's not always the case. Sometimes you're going on a construction consulting appointment. And so if you do see the Real Estate 411 car or truck in someone's driveway in your neighborhood, don't panic. It doesn't always mean that you're losing the best neighbors of the world.
Right.
It just means that we're there on a coaching call. But please come over and, introduce yourself.